Hi everyone, in this instructional video we'll be looking at how to use EasyBib in Google Docs to make a bibliography while you're doing your research. For this example, we'll be doing research on 3D printing and how it will change the world in the future. Keep in mind there are some things to remember about doing research and which sources are valid sources. So my example is if you find something on Facebook that talks about 3D printing, it may not be accurate. It may not even be a little bit true. It might be completely made up. It's not a valid source. If you find it on a website that's maybe a government website or an education website, for example, a college or university, it's much more likely to be an accurate source. Also, if you find one source that tells you that something is true, well, that it may be true, but you need to find more sources to verify that. And so if you find out that there's this new invention and it's a car that has no wheels, it just floats on a cushion of air over top of the roads, and it gets 1,000 miles per gallon of gasoline, you may want to try to look that up and see if there's other sources that talk about that car and if it exists or not. If you don't find any other sources, it probably doesn't exist. If you find a whole bunch of other sources and they all confirm it, then it probably does exist. But you want to find more information on that topic. It's the same as having a conversation with some of your friends. If someone tells you a rumor and it's somebody who you trust, it's more believable, but you still want to ask other people who may know information about that and find out whether it's a true story or not. The more people who have the same story, the more believable the story is. And it's the same when you're doing your research. Now let's get into our research on 3D printers a little bit. You're going to either open a document that you already have or create a new document. So you can go to Create and Document. I already have one open over here. And you're going to record all of the places that you're getting information from. All of those sources, in this case a bunch of web pages that we're getting our information from, we're going to create a bibliography with those sources, so if other people want to see where we got our information from and verify our information, they can do it too. They can look back at our bibliography, which is right here, and they can go back to these same websites and read exactly what we read. There's two reasons to do that. One, you should give the authors of that article or that web page credit for the work that they did, but you also want to give your reader an opportunity to go back and look at where you got your information from. A cool thing with EasyBib, you're going to see that there are two entries here. I can click the X and it will get rid of one of my entries. So I'm going to X out the bottom one. It goes away. See, nothing happened over here, but if I add bibliography to doc, what it's really doing is it syncs these two bibliographies so that they're the same. So now I'm down to one. That's pretty neat. So you can add bibliographies over here and it will automatically create it on your page. It automatically puts it to the end, so if you have a whole bunch of pages of things typed, it just puts it at the end, and you're going to continue to type your research above that. Okay? So you don't have to wait in order to write your paper first and then do your bibliography. You can do it as you're writing your paper. Now we're going to go to a website, and I'm just going to add a tab here. We're going to type in 3D printer in the future. We'll see what comes up. A whole bunch of things will probably come up. And so I have 3D printing in the future of is the future of manufacturing or building a new future. I'm going to go to this one. I haven't been to that one before. And you can see that this whole article comes up. There's a car that was manufactured by using 3D printing. I just know that picture. I've seen it a bunch of times now. So I can read a whole bunch of things here. I can click on further articles. And let's say this is a source that I am going to use. I would highlight this whole thing. You can do that a couple of ways. You can do what I just did and hold your mouse down and highlight it. You can triple click on it and it will highlight it. Now here's the tricky part. We're on Macs, so we're going to hold down Command and C. On a PC, you would hold down Control and C. Same thing, you're copying. That's what copying is. And if you look up under Edit, you'll see Copy, and it has the symbol and the C. Next, we're going to need to paste. That is Command again, but V. Command P was already taken. That's printing. So Command C for copy, Command V for paste. We go back to our document. We make sure that we're on a website because that's the type of document we are trying to add to our bibliography. Command V, remember, for paste. And I'm searching for that. It finds it, so I select it. And it automatically added it into our bibliography on the side. But if I want it to show up here, and I do, I need to add bibliography to the doc. And there it is. Now you can wait and add your bibliography to the doc at the very end, and you can build it as you're researching, or you can add it as you go. Totally up to you. It will end up being exactly the same in the end, so it's a preference. I like to have it there as I'm working, and then I continue to type my paper up above. So do not copy information out of what you're reading. The only things you're copying and pasting will be the URL, and that's just to keep track of your sources for the bibliography. Those things down here, really everything should be in your own words when you're doing research. Occasionally you may quote something, and there's a way to cite that, which we'll talk about later. But when you're finding information, you want it to be in, we're going to skip this, you want that to be in the words, in your own words, not in the words that you found on the page. So definitely do not copy and paste or even retype the exact thing or even a slightly reworded version of it. Make it your own words. Don't just change a couple of words so you're not exactly copying it. That's still plagiarism. We want it to be something that you came up with and that you understand yourself, because we're relying on you to explain it to us in your research. Good luck. Have fun with EasyBib and Google Docs.